Soccer 605, Randy McKee here. I'm here with Coach Dale Weiler, the head of competitive for Dakota Alliance Soccer Club. Thanks, Coach, for being with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You know, the last time we were together was cold and windy at the state tournament, and but still, I thought we did a pretty nice job for as cold as we were.
Yeah, I think it got almost 100 hits online. So no, it's good to be inside. The weather outside's pretty terrible now, but it's good. The event's gone so far so good in here. So.
Well, you know, it's so fantastic to get all these different teams in here. You know, we were looking at the deal. We got teams from 6 different states here, all over, you know, some very good competition for your teams. And, you know, I really thought that you guys were very righteous in the way that you handle the registrations here. I mean, we talked to some of your teams that couldn't even get in because you're letting teams from other areas in. That's pretty decent of you guys.
We appreciate that. You saying that, too. You know, we spent a lot of time, you know, weeks ago when registrations were coming in, just deciding on, you know, what was important. And I think having a lot of diversity in the event was probably one of the key focuses of what we wanted to achieve. And I think you see it out here. I mean, a simple thing of just walking in here throughout the weekend and there's games going on and you don't see, you know, Dakota Alliance playing Dakota Alliance or SDU playing SDU or whatever the case. It's good because it brings in some different clubs, and hopefully their experience has been good so far where they come back in the future, and then we can really get this thing rolling with other states coming in and making it more competitive for sure.
You know, and one thing I've seen just on every floor here today, even if you have a very good team, you get to find out pretty soon where you are in the food chain, because you've got some really good soccer teams here this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And the indoor game is so much different, obviously, than the outdoor game. I mean, it's high pace. You got to be kind of on your toes at all points. You know, I coach a few teams, and I just try to say, hey, ball goes out of bounds. You got to get it and, you know, get it in play as quickly as possible. And then on the defensive end, you got to be on your toes and sharp because it's fast and physical. I think those teams that are technical enough to be able to work the ball around are more successful, just because in here it's such a tight space. You got to be able to handle that. And yeah, there's some really great teams. I think on the older boys side, there was a team from Gillette and the team from Fargo. They had some really excellent players. It was fun to watch and play against for sure. So,
you know, we were watching that Fargo team last night, and they have a kid in there that literally, I remember DeMarcus Beasley when he came to Region 2 camp when I was taking teams there. This kid looks and acts and moves just like Beasley did back then.
Yeah, for sure. That's what Danielle said this morning. I wasn't here last night, but he said the same thing about Beasley. I don't know if you guys were saying that together. But yeah, no, they got some special players. I'm not sure where, you know, if they're in college and are just playing in a winter league here or what, but they were fun to see, and it's good to have that sort of player come down here and guys like that. So, yeah.
Well, you know, speaking of players, you know, I've seen you with a lot of different teams here, and as you know, the last quite a while we've been focusing on that younger player, you know, the U14, U13, U15. Yeah. You know, we've got a lot of really good kids in that age category, but, you know, I was just wondering at Dakota Alliance, the focus that you have as a club on developing that U14 player.
Yeah, you know, I feel like over the last few years there's been kind of more of a transition with our 14s and below with just how our training is kind of organized. And kind of a key component to it actually is I've had conversations with Frank and Brandon Barkus more about group training because we don't think like the team environment at such a young age should be the primary focus, because you want to be able to bring in, you know, 20 to 30 players in an age group and have everybody kind of have that ability to impress throughout the year and to work on certain aspects in their game instead of, oh, this is my team the whole year and this is what I've got to work with. It's let's come together as a group, focus on a certain set of skills and practice for the week or month, and then from there, you know, decide on certain events that we can attend that might be appropriate for a group of players from that age group. Take them to that event, see how they do, and then bring a different group to a different event. So it kind of allows for, I guess, a different sort of experience when you're younger. You get kind of all facets of the level of player that's in it instead of getting into a team environment right away. And once you kind of get to 13 and 14 and 15 even, when State Cup kind of becomes more important to the group, if it's appropriate, then you kind of, you know, start to find and identify players that maybe are appropriate for that. And then as you get into, you know, March and April, try to put together a team, you know, for those competitions and stuff. So yeah.
You know, I remember many years ago, right after France won World Cup, we were at National Convention, and a few of us coaches had the privilege of sitting in a room with Coach Jacquet for 3 hours, and they brought him back and made him the head of their U14 program.
Yeah.
About that time, we were starting to talk about 2010 program. They had a lot of coaches there, and they were really focusing on the U14. And I couldn't believe what they're doing in France. I mean, they literally gave these kids dental examinations before they brought them into camp because they somehow or other figured out that bad teeth made it restrictive for players to really develop.
Interesting. Yeah, and at that age too, it's a really big transition period in my opinion. I mean, they're about to start high school, the following year, and the separation between, the physical abilities of kids, you can really start to see a big line. I coach a 14 boys team right now, and there's kids that are almost 6 feet tall on it, and then kids that aren't even over 5. So there's a big separation there. That's why I think that group, training to get everybody involved with it's really, really important. In terms of the soccer side of things, for development, I mean, still the technical side is of utmost importance, 14 and below, but you can start to work on more tactical things too because they've been on the field for a year now of 11v11, so you can really start to work on, simple things like shape and, moving forward and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, the typical player, and especially at that age group, they, people take for granted how many decisions a soccer player has to make within a minute of game time in a fast-paced game, and that's so critical that these kids understand the game and what they need to do in certain circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like to think that we as a club try to keep things simple for our players. Not overloading them with so much information in practice and games that they get, almost in a freak out sort of mode, because sometimes that can happen because the energy's high and everybody's really, excited about what's going on. But yeah, I mean, giving simple instruction about, hey, when this situation occurs in the game, these are the things you should be thinking about doing. Really just straightforward stuff like that, and I think it helps. So, yeah.
Well, we're going to let you get back to your teams here, but really appreciate your time. Now, I know that we talked a couple days ago, and we're going to be doing a story on this about a new program you're bringing up at Dakota Alliance.
Yeah, we just had our first week of it last week. It's called the Monday Night Football Program, and basically it's for kids that are of a high school age that might have some interest in either being coached by a college coach just to get a different flavor of what the coach might be like, and also provides them with a recruiting opportunity for the player and the coach. So we have a good slate of coaches on the men's and women's side coming in to run some sessions. They can identify players, and the players can get a feel for what those coaches are all about. So I think it's going to be great, and I appreciate you helping out as much as possible to get the story out about it. So
hopefully we can get over there too and just get a little video and talk to some of the players, some of the coaches, see what's going on.
Definitely.
Well, Coach Weiler, again, thanks very much for all the time you've given us, and really appreciate the friendship that we have with you and your club.
And we appreciate you and Carol doing everything you guys do. So thanks. Yep. Okay.